Morning, everybody. What I wanted to talk about today is the concept of our awareness, of where our awareness is and maybe who and what we really are, to give you an idea of the extent of what we are versus what we seem to feel that we are within this point of awareness. When you look at the idea that, I give you an example, say Ron, that I and many others would say that the higher self, my spirit guides, my higher aspect, has a point of awareness that is here in what I call Ron in this one moment in space-time. If you really look at that, I think that comes down to an incredibly egotistical point of view, and that thinking that out of all creation, out of all moments in space-time, all possibilities, probabilities, and realities within this timeline, that our higher aspect, the spirit aspect of what we really are, only has its awareness in the point that where we think we are the we that we are here. Go back over the course of your life and just start thinking for a moment the number of decisions, the number of choices, the number of things that you have done throughout your entire life that could have been done differently. An example, say when you were in school, you're taking a test. Let's say that there's another reality for you in which you changed one answer on the test over what the answer that you remember giving. And there's the same for every single test you've ever taken and every single question you've ever answered. What about the idea that there was a you in every classroom, in every school that ever existed, because you're going to experience it from a different point of view? What about the idea that there would be an aspect of you that would have been born in every country, every city, every town, throughout the entire world, lived on every street, in every single house, in order for that aspect to, an aspect of you, to experience your role, in my case the role of Ron, in a little bit different way. My name maybe even would have been different in some of these other places. Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today, I got a little sore throat. So when you look back at all those possibilities, if you went left instead of right, if you went right instead of left, if you changed one word in something you said, and look at the idea that every possibility and every choice exists that you ever could have been made, created a reality within the same timeline, you start to get a scope of the vastness of how many aspects of you could exist at any one time and in one moment. Because remember, that's all there is only one moment, one time. So think back over that course of just the life of you, just the one aspect in my case of Ron. How many possible Rons could have existed to his experience everything that I've experienced, only in every possible way, every possible scenario, where every place I could have lived, schools and so on, jobs, and on down the road. And now think of the idea that if this is my universe, and that other people within this universe are also aspects of, say, my higher self that are playing roles for me. And then think of every possible decision, scenario, probability, possibility that they could have made. And that our higher self, the spirit aspect of what we really are, would have an awareness of every single one of those aspects and every single one of those moments, points in time of all time within this entire universe. So the actuality is when you start thinking about the idea that the only point of our awareness, of our spirit awareness, is within the role that we're playing now. As I said, I think that takes on a pretty egotistical point of view, and thinking that we are the beginning, the end, and all, when in fact the who and what we think we are here is essentially just a role we are playing, an aspect of our higher self, along with all the other aspects of it. And our higher self, that spirit aspect of what we really are, is aware of every one of those aspects, every one of those realities simultaneously, and has awareness in every single one of them. The me in, say, made another decision, say has another job, lives in another place, is just as aware of experiencing that reality as I am aware of experiencing this reality, and so on with every aspect of myself and every aspect of each of you that would be experiencing and aware of those realities simultaneously. I think the difference would come down to, at some point down the road, we're going to be able to maybe have the awareness of more than one of those points of awareness simultaneously. We may be able to start shifting as we move through this role of where we are as we move forward. That we may be able to be simultaneously aware of multiple points of awareness, multiple aspects at the same time, and maybe even be able to shift and choose to be able to move through them. You know, when you add into that the idea of dimensions, when you add into the idea of other worlds and planets and everything that could possibly have played out in this universe, which I've mentioned before is a universe of darkness, I believe, seeking light in all the ways that we could possibly seek light. So when you start looking at the other star systems, the clusters, and the other aspects of our higher self on each of those realities and worlds, I think you can start to get an understanding of the grasp on just how big, and I'm not even sure big is the right word for it, but just how much awareness that our higher self, the spirit, us, can have and does have at every single moment in time. So I think one of the things that we need to start looking at is start thinking beyond the point of being of the awareness that we have here. It's also the idea that if you are who and what you are, think you are at this point, and there are things that you want, things you would like to do, places you would like to go, maybe things you would like to have done during your life, and such, that there may very well be, and probably is, an aspect of you that is doing those, has done those, and is doing those simultaneously as the you that are doing here, and they are just as aware that they are doing those things that you have here. And as I said, maybe at some point we're going to be able to shift and be able to connect our awarenesses so that we will have the memory of aspects of us who are not doing those things and the aspects of us who were doing those things. And our higher self already has that and has that experience. Yes, but we may be able to, and the point of we, I guess, the physicality point of us, we may be able to start being more aware of multiple points at the same time. So it also comes down to the idea of why we were born with the limitations. One of the other videos I did that kind of tend to direct us in a certain direction as to decisions and things that we can do and make. And yet there's other aspects of us that are born with other limitations and less limitations on say height, weight, looks, jobs, education, IQ, whatever it may be, that they can play all those other roles of us simultaneously. So what it comes down to is get over ourselves and thinking that we are the only point of awareness for our higher self, that we are in fact it, the beginning and the end, and we are, but we're not at the same time, because our higher self is aware of every aspect within this entire, what we would call a universe, this entire timeline simultaneously, and probably all timelines simultaneously, because they're all played out at the same time. So anyway, that just gives you an idea on the concept of our awareness and how big, I guess you could say, how, I can't even think of the proper word, but just how much the capabilities of what our higher self would have and be aware of, and way beyond is what we think we are at this single point in time. Anyway, thank you.